Hello and welcome to the Double XC podcast. I am your host and owner, Xavier Excellence Collier. Tired of people asking me, am I the owner? This is episode 8. I don't know what I'm calling the title, and today I have a guest, musician G-therz. Say what's up.
Hey, what's up?
Wait, so today we're going to do it a little differently. No TV or games or movies. Just going to talk about music. So a few questions, the Grammys, and some talk about college. So, first off, G-therz, your album, The Jazz Trap Aids, came out Thursday, April 14th. How you feel about it?
It feels like a triumphant moment. I feel like just all the stuff that was put in, it was months in the making, nearly a year. I guess you could say it's a year process because I went out and the premise of this project was 10 songs where I'm working with a quintet of jazz musicians. So out of the 5 musicians, the way I split it up is each musician gets 2 songs to solo on, a short solo of like 48 bars and a long solo of 12 to 16 bars. And it took so long just because I spent um, the previous spring semester, so months before capstone was supposed to start, I just spent putting up flyers, searching for people. There were times where I'm like, I need this certain instrument, but no one applied, so I have to go and reach out to people and do that. And I eventually had some people, but unfortunately, not everything is perfect. Like I had a couple guitarists drop out, I had a piano player drop out, and we went through this process over the summer of these Discord sessions every week of like, hey, let's compose a song, like let's get some ideas. I have ideas for this based on this style of jazz, this artist, like let's go something like this tempo. I want you to solo. What do you want to solo on? Oh, what do you think of this horn section idea and all this stuff? Just assembling that, and that's just to make the quote unquote samples where I had to add on top of it trap production and then getting a bunch of guest vocalists because I'm not a singer. I can't sing, especially jazz. So I don't want to ruin it by being there myself and just doing this terrible singing. So I went out and got a lot of people, some friends, some new collaborators on, hey, can you do this hook for me or can you do a hook and a bridge? And I had a couple friends do some rap verses on one song, and yeah, and then writing stuff of my own. That's why I feel like, and doing all this together, like, I feel like I put something where it's not just personal stuff, but it's not just here's a bunch of car bangers. It's kind of a mixture of both. Like, the first few songs, like the first song, for example, is just bars. It's a bar fest. I'm giving you some of my best punchlines, some witty wordplay, multisyllabic rhyme schemes that go on for 4 lines instead of just couplets, and then it's just like stuff you could dance to, like the song "Swing My Way," which was my lead single. I really want to capture that 20s essence with it. As I described it, the Great Gatsby-esque, and that was the first song we worked on, and that was probably the most troubling for us as a group because we were just figuring things out. Like, hey, I have some references. Since someone goes, oh, I have ideas, I'm like, this is not what I had in mind. Another person shares ideas. Another person is trying to get GarageBand to export, but it just won't export MIDI and all this stuff. And I mean, I think once we got the first, I want to say 3 songs we made, everything else felt like smooth sailing. Forgive me if I sound a bit sniffled. It's just, it went from 70 degrees yesterday to like 45 raining, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, my body's just no. But anyways, yeah, with that song, Swing My Way, like, we made a music video and all that. Like, that's just something, may not necessarily be, hey, turn up at a pool party, but, you could dance to it. I don't know. I should have mentioned the Charleston at some point, but I just didn't. But yeah, I feel like you could be dancing the Charleston to it. I mean, shoot, the other day I was at this club event at a park, and I saw some people dancing to it. I was like, hell yeah, man. Can I curse on this or no?
Go ahead.
Okay, no, I mean I'm not cursing right now, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, yeah, no, she was dancing. This one girl, for example, I'm like, right on, I'm just like, yeah, people really feeling it. I'm glad, like, people really enjoy it, and I think the next few songs are like, hey, here's some more bangers, mainly for like the parties or if you're out in the car. Then it gets into more serious stuff, like I have this. It starts with this song "Forever Frantic," where I just feel all constantly frantic, like I I'm just in a workaholic mindset, and then I talk about like relationship stuff with the next song "Best I Never Had." That really sets in like this calm, serious, and I guess vulnerable experience, um, where it's just like thinking about relationships that could have been like, you know, man, you know, if the timing was right, or if I had the courage to, and I asked out that girl, we might have actually been compatible. But it's like, things just are fantasy and whatnot. And then
Mm-hmm.
other stuff like price to pay, I'm worried about like, yeah, financial struggles in a way of like, just getting by just because of how this industry operates very poorly with artists, and especially if you don't have a solid foundation, you're screwed, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I just put like my fears and like onto the page with the pen, and kind of making it a way where it's not I'm preaching to you, but you can relate to it. And then it gets to real depressing stuff with 808 Blues. Like I was just in a dark place when I wrote that, and I just kind of just captured the essence of it. And it really, you could really feel it. That's because I was in that state of mind. I'm like, yeah, because things were tough a year ago in April. Like there was corona
Mm-hmm.
vaccine anti-vaxxer drama. There was Asian hate going on as an Asian American. I was fearing my relatives were getting beat, by assholes. And yeah, it's just like in school, especially on Zoom, was not a good way to learn. It was very stressful. So I just put that together, and then I did the out of touch song, just feeling out of touch. Like I just kind of vented some of my frustrations from stuff from back home, coming from high school, and even now it's like just feeling used and out of, like in a different reality in a sense. And then the last song, "What Lies Ahead," um, that was like, this is how I'm gonna end it, because this is the last song I will put out while I'm in college, thinking about, as we'll discuss later, like
Mm-hmm.
literally what lies ahead after graduating. What am I gonna do? Can I really do this thing? Like I want to do it, but will I be able to? And just expressing those fears and vulnerabilities, and I think people will really relate to it. So it goes from like, hey, let's have a good time, to shit just got real, it just hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel like it's so triumphant. And not just like, oh, it's going from happy to sad, but it's like just culminating all my skills and over the years. Like it's not just like, hey, here's the wittiest punchline, but it's like, how do I craft a song that's like really, you could really enjoy. It really sets in with the listener. Like, yeah, this really feels relatable, and while still creating stuff to have a good time. And my skills in recording have improved. You know, there were some mishaps with instrument recording, but we were able to fix that. And I reached out to people. Shout out to Casimir. Shout out to Roman Ricardo. They really helped me out with mixing, because like I know of the basics, but these guys really helped with like getting a solid mix of like showing me this is how to improve it. This is what to look for, and it's like now it makes sense. And and yeah, just because this is my capstone, and like I've been working, thought of the idea for years, and I'm like, I'm gonna really put this together. And I really was going all out with like setting up a concert. Which, if you're an artist, don't set up your own concert. Let someone else take care of that. Have a
Mm-hmm.
tour manager, someone. That was so much work, and then there was so many things behind the scenes where it just got way too stressful. Like, Xavion, you're an artist yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I do not recommend you doing that. And it's nothing against you personally, but as someone that's been through the ringer, it just, the reward is not worth the risk to me. Like, but honestly, it took someone like me having to go through that in order to learn from it. Of like, yeah, this is very difficult. Like, I want to just perform. Like, I can't take care of babysitting instrumentalists and making sure people and all this. Like, it's just too much. It's like I have to focus on just performing my part, because otherwise that throws off my concentration, and I really got to be in that zone. So there's things that it can easily get me out of it. And with this album as well, not only is it like, yeah, I think this is really solid work and like here's growth, but not just terms of mixing and like I feel like production, like really mixing in live with digital, you could say, and even with songwriting, I felt like years ago I was at the pinnacle, like maybe my sophomore year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I thought because I'd create these verses with like this is a couplet with 7-syllable rhyme scheme, and then like somehow 11, like 5, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, and then I'm like, it's not just creating the most to rhyme with, it's also just like the content of it. Like, does it make sense? Does it flow well? And I think I've really gone a good balance of it, which it's not to say I've toned down in rhyme schemes and wordplay being lyrical. It's just like I realized like, no, like you really gotta have, that's good, let me boost every other skill, like make it a real coherent song, like it's its own work of art. And yeah, I know I'm going on, you fine with that?
Nah,
Because that
nah, go on all day. It's very deep. I hope everyone is taking it all in. I might go ahead.
Because if you ever watch like the Joe Budden podcast, they just kind of go on and on and on. Like I've seen some of their podcasts, they go on for like 2 hours, 50 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, that's how exactly I am. Like, yeah, thanks for letting me go on and on. It's like, yeah, don't have so many questions. Trust me, I'll give you an answer, all right, and there will be content. And so I think also because I've done open mic night performances, just performances in general, they've really enhanced it, because I view now of like when I would record years ago, like back in high school, to recording now. Years ago, it felt like an actor just reading a script, not even performing, just like you're kind of just reading the script. And I noticed I had like a very hokey cadence and like kind of monotone dialogue in a way. And now it's like, all right, I'm trying to do a live performance in a way, like I'm performing to a crowd just being captured on a microphone into a recording.
Mm-hmm.
I think I learned that from Busta Rhymes of like, I don't do this, but he would record something and then re-record the entire thing like as if it's a live performance, because it really captures a different energy with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I did that too with I would do that with reference stuff, when I write a verse and I'm like, this is how the cadence is, I don't want to forget it, let me get down a reference, and then I really go back to it and like really feels developed. I'm like, yeah, this is it. And yeah, I guess that's kind of it about my album. Just like really, like this is years in the making in a way, even though it wasn't. And I think it feels triumphant as well, because I haven't put out any full length project since my mixtape Popular Loser, the Jazz Trap LP, and that came out March 12th, 2020. So that I was like, hey, stream this, and people like, the world's about to end. I'm like, oh my god, this is the worst timing ever. And I think during that quarantine and all that, like, sure, some people really pumped out music. Me, I kind of lost the drive, because it's like the due dates don't really matter. I could just keep pushing back when it's like no one's really paying attention. I'm really there in person, as one person described it. I'm a campus artist. Like, people see me from open mic nights and live performances and just being there on campus. I couldn't really do the virtual that well, so I kind of was preparing for stuff, And then I was like, the best I got was a few singles and then some lo-fi remix compilations. But this, I really feel like it's a full return. Yeah.
Cool. The Jazz Trap Ace is now on all streaming platforms. Okay.
Yep.
More questions. How'd you come up with the name G-therz?
So my last name is G-therz, and it's a German last name. And the thing with the way it was, I guess, converted, Americanized, you could say. Um, so my great grandfather, so my grandfather's grandfather came to the U.S. He came to Staten Island in 1904. He came from Germany. At the time, that was the German Empire. Um, he came, yeah. And the way it was spelled, it it was a G-U with an umlaut, and the way it gets Americanized, I guess, like because in the U.S. The Anglo-Saxon, I guess, based society, we don't use umlauts and all the fancy accents. So, in the German conversion, if you will, is putting UE instead of U with an umlaut, and I guess with German, when you have to. And by the way, if there's any German speaking experts, you could correct me if I'm wrong with this, but it's like if you got two vowels right next to each other, you pronounce the second vowel and with the long vowel sound. So it's G-U-E. You don't say gue or guh, goo. It's gi. It's like, it's a silent U, like Guinness, or how some people say guitar. Although some others say guitar, if you're from the South, but, like Guinness Book of World Records, Guinness, the alcohol. And so with that last name, G-therz, people would say Guther, Guther, Gunther. I'm like, where'd you get the N from? Like, you just seeing stuff now. Gwether, Guther. And so I just kind of went, yeah, let me just take that UE and make it a hyphen. And I went to G-therz. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And then I just put a Z, G-therz. And someone said, you should make it with an S. And I'm like, that doesn't look right. It just didn't look right when written down. And hence, that's how I got the name, essentially. I just based it off of my last name. And some people, when they come up with their own names, their own stage name, rap name, it's like the most generic thing. I'm like, I base it off of an uncommon last name. That's how I got mine. And that's why it is what it is.
I feel that. This one's from Punky Out. Shout out to her. She's a little sick. Some of your music has lo-fi laid-back style. Did you know what kind of music you wanted to make, or did you just find your music progressing in the particular genre?
I started out with a friend of mine. He went by the name of MCK, artist-wise, but now he's a comedian, so he just quit music. Like, this comedian Karan Menon, I don't know if you've seen him on TikTok.
No.
Really? I thought you might have.
I haven't been on that much TikTok.
But he was also on Instagram. He did the TikTok skit where it's like explaining qualified immunity.
I'm gonna check him out.
But yeah, anyways, I used to work with him. He used to help me out with stuff. He wasn't like teaching me how to rap. I was learning that on my own, like myself, like based on influences that I was listening to. But he'd help out with production, and he played the saxophone, he played tenor and alto, and he played piano. So he really helped out with learning production. And because of this exposure to jazz through him, I really got into jazz. Like, I think that's what got me into the jazz stuff. And eventually I'm like, hey, what if I combine jazz and trap music together? That's why I was like, I'm going to do the jazz trap thing. And I was like, this is my thing, because I'm an old head mentally. Like, I would listen to a lot of 90s, sometimes early 2000s stuff, some 80s stuff. And, they were all about, like, yeah, I got my own original style. Like, don't bite off of me. The closest you get is similar but not the same, that type of thing. So I was like, okay, how do I make myself stand out? And unfortunately, I'm one of those guys that's like, I'm kind of born in the wrong generation, because the generation I'm coming up in is you gotta sound the same instead.
Mm.
Which is a damn shame, you know, and then a lot of the copycats end up falling off. But hey, that's I missed the part where that's my problem. So
Spider-Man.
yeah, so through that, just working with jazzy production, and eventually lo-fi became a thing. I'm like, I got this jazz trap beats. What if I just like remix it into its own lo-fi instrumentals that like. So with the lo-fi, I found out about it probably my senior year of high school. I was around 17, and then eventually thought like I didn't get to it for a while, and then I don't know, I was in quarantine. I was like, what if I just remix my own stuff and make it lo-fi? And then I was like, well, I got plenty of material, just kind of messed around. It was really a side project. Is that the stuff she's talking about with the lo-fi specifically? Like the
Yeah.
lo-fi remixes? Okay. Because I never really did like a lo-fi boom bap album where I'm rapping on it. Like, that's the thing. I feel like the past few years I've been more of like in the trap craze. Like I listen to a lot of boom bap, and I'm like, yeah, I've done a couple songs with the boom bap production, but I'm like, in the future, I really want to do like just boom bap, to, like take it old school. I feel like I really float on those beats well. I'm like, why haven't I done this? And it's like I create these project ideas that kind of push it back. I'm like, just one day, I'll call it young old head, where I'm just gonna just do like 90s style production, early 2000s, whatever you want to call it. Just like I'm getting the grimy stuff.
Yeah, I feel that. I listen to a lot of the 70s and 80s. You ever seen like those videos when they just have waveforms of old songs? I don't. That might have been like early 2000s. I don't know how to explain it. Never mind. But I already know part of this question. But do you have any musicians or bands that you draw inspiration from?
Um, See, that's one of those big open-ended questions, just because there's so many perspectives you could take it from. For example, like one of my influences, rap. Why? Like, I feel like as a rapper, which is an umbrella in and of itself, and then like as a producer, it's its own thing, and then like just stuff I'm kind of listening to that like incorporates in a way, like I don't get production influence from Miles Davis. However, there's some Miles Davis songs where it's like, I really like this. I really want to make something like this. And I might tell a musician, like, go for this direction. Go for this kind of mood. Here's the tempo. Like, I really want you to feel like you just feel the sadness or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, there's stuff like that. There's So if we go start with rapper wise, there's like I guess you could say my top 5 MC influences, and this isn't exactly a particular order. You could say Eminem, because I first listened to Rap God, and it's not like I never heard of Eminem before or any rap music, but that song that's the one I'm like, I want to do that. I want to rap, and then I just wanted to do it as like like a YouTube kind of thing, like just like a YouTube channel intro, something like that. And then at the time, people were fucking around with me. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're good at it," and I kind of fell for the delusion. But the difference is, while they were kind of laughing at me in school, like it's like, "Oh, it was bad." I actually got a lot better since then, so it's kind of middle fingers to them now. And so yeah, Eminem. You could say Tech Nine. You could say Black Thought from the Roots. And then you could put Tupac and Nas in there. And there's so many others. Like I feel like if I list it, it just turns into an encyclopedia page. Like you see some rappers like, these are all my influences. I'm like, I have so much more than that. Like I feel like if I had a Wikipedia page, there'd be a separate page on just my influences. That's how many there are. Like the 80s, I want to say like Rakim. Like I learned this from him from this documentary, The Art of Rap, where I learned song structuring of kind of sandwiching bars and that really made me view of like when songwriting, like, would this work? Because if it's a consistent sandwich, it's a consistent, you'll flow consistently and smooth. But if it's like breaking all back and forth, it's like it's gonna be a jumbled mess. Some partially phrases, some too long, and that the exceptions, like if I'm going double time, that's something else. So like from the '80s, I guess you could say Rakim, LL Cool J, just because he had that kind of bravado to him. Like I wouldn't say he's a major influence, but he's still an influence.
Mm-hmm.
Big Daddy Kane, you could say, and then maybe not really Cool J, right? Oh, KRS-One, yeah, KRS-One. That's someone like, he really put the street shit, and then he was giving you some knowledge. I mean, knowledge reigns supreme. Um, and then '90s, I think that's where a lot of my influences came from, like the Ice Cube. I mean, you could throw in NWA from the '80s, but I don't think they necessarily influenced me. But like, I listened to them, like I enjoy their music. I think there's a distinction between, oh, I enjoy this guy's music, and no, this has an influence, and this is how I could tell. Like, I could list so many more rappers from the '80s. Like, sure, I like Run DMC. I like, Juice Crew, Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane, but I don't think there was necessarily an influence. Dr. Dre, definitely, for sure, especially with the solo career. Like I said, Eminem, Tupac. Tupac, what I really got from him was his range of emotion. Like, he was never like the punchline guy. Wu Tang, for sure, I had an influence from them. Redman, Nas, just like the way he crafted stuff, like so poetic, and you can visualize it. I guess you could throw in Jay-Z, but I feel like, yeah, Jay-Z, because it's not just '90s Jay-Z, but also 2000s Jay-Z. I have that influence, like just the way he's got that bravado, and like the way he makes stuff really smooth. Like, for example, I'd say three of my favorite Jay-Z, four of my Jay-Z, yeah, four of my favorite Jay-Z songs of all time are probably "You Don't Know" from The Blueprint, "Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City" from The Blueprint, intro, "1,000,001 Questions" from Volume 1, and "Where I'm From" Volume 1. And yeah, let's see, more '90s MCs. I guess you could say DMX. You could probably throw in the Locks, even though it's more of like their more recent stuff, but they were from the '90s. Biggie. Who else am I missing from that time? Ice Cube. Yeah, there's just a lot. Big Pun, definitely. Like the way he put the multisyllabic flows together. I'm like, God damn. And he just, like, if you listen to Twins, oh my god, that song is insane with his schemes. And Big L. Oh my god, I cannot leave out Big L. I feel like Big L does not get enough appreciation from this generation. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like, his first album, Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous, I'm like, this is a really fucking good album. Like, how do we leave this out at times? Like, it just kind of baffles me in a way. Like, I mean, like, sure, there's other stuff in the '90s I like and listen to, but I wouldn't say necessarily influence me. Like, A Tribe Called Quest, I like them. Like, I know you could say, like, oh, they really had that jazzy sound. And I'm like, I don't think their stuff necessarily influenced my jazzy sound, because it was very kind of funk-based with their jazz samples. Like, it really felt more funky than jazzy to me at times. Mobb Deep, I know I like Mobb Deep. Snoop Dogg, Dog Pound, Nate Dogg. Like, Nate Dogg doesn't influence me necessarily, because I don't sing, but I really like his sound. Like, it's just something with the way he would harmonize that I would call an eargasm. Like, I know, like,
yeah, I feel that. He sound like he could be in a jazz song.
like, very soulful. Like, I never really understood, like, the infatuation with, like, women loving guys that sing that really high soprano, like the Bee Gees, or like when Justin Timberlake does it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's cool. That's an impressive skill, but I'm like, it doesn't really hit my ears in a way. It's like, damn, like when Nate Dogg does those harmonies and you hear that bass, that's what I like. Like, it's just something different about it. It's like that's the sweet spot in a way. Um, and I guess when you get into the 2000s, you got like Lloyd Banks, G Unit, I guess Eminem. You can include the entire Slaughterhouse in there. Yeah, I feel like I just gotta pull out my phone to be like, yeah, no, but we'll be here all night. And some 2010 stuff like I guess Kendrick and Cole. I know it's kind of obvious to say, but yeah, I'd say that. Griselda. I mean, I can't. Oh yeah, I forgot the Roots. Oh my god, what the hell's wrong with me? Yeah, definitely the Roots. Like I feel like that, and some of the artists I just named, rapper wise, I feel like influence production wise as well. But I wouldn't say like this is my trap influence. Like it's weird. Like my influences production wise are Dr. Dre and DJ Premier and like RZA and but I haven't really made boom bap recently. I don't know. It's just something about that, And then as you could tell, I have a taste in jazz. Like I don't know. I'm very picky about it though.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
yeah, I know that's a lot of influences.
Yeah, I feel it. Last question. This one's for me. If you could do a freestyle, what would you do? Or at least 6. I mean, wait. Do you think you could do a freestyle or?
When you said a freestyle or at least 6, what do you mean by 6? You mean
like if you could freestyle any hip hop song or jazz song?
You talk about like if I was given a beat to a song of an existing song and rap over it. Is that what you mean by freestyle? Okay, because I'm like, do you want me to spit a rhyme right now? Because I don't.
No, I'm not gonna put you on the spot right now.
I was gonna say I'm like my allergies are kind of fucked up right now. So yeah, that's a good one because I feel like there's stuff I would like to freestyle on like like the 50 Cent. I call it 50 Cent mixtapes. The 50 Cent kind of mixtape where he freestyle over something and kind of make the song his own. That is a good question because there are some beats that like I would want to just rap over. I want to say probably something Dr. Dre produced. I would want to do my own freestyle over, like yeah, and that's hard. Like, do you want me to list multiple instead of just one? Because if I do one, I'm never good of like just one. What's your favorite? This, give me multiple and I'll figure it out. But like,
I feel that I don't think maybe I did freestyle once, but I probably written down. I can't think of one offhand.
Like I would probably do something like The Watcher by Dr. Dre. Oh, Where I'm From by Jay-Z. That's a good one to rap over. I feel like.
Mobb Deep Silk ones.
Yeah, that's a classic one, but I feel like that'd be too obvious, especially because 8 Mile it created its own identity with that based on 8 Mile.
Mm-hmm. Because I remember listening to Lil Wayne's Dad Case in 4, 5, and 6. He has nothing but freestyles.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, here's a good one. George Bondo by West Side Gun. That's a good one to freestyle over. That, I don't know, it's just something like it hits different. Like, it's just that oomph to it. Yeah, I don't know necessarily about jazz. Jazz isn't exactly easy, especially because when they were recording a lot of jazz stuff, they're not really doing to a click or to the grid. And even then, so it's like, it's very complicated. Like, the best I'd say is, like, I'd take a jazz clip and loop it. But that's not really a freestyle over jazz. That's like, even then, so I'd need the time to practice over. It wouldn't really be freestyle,
Alright, so we're gonna get into other topics like have you listened to any new music recently? I think I'm still behind on a lot of music. The only one I've listened to is some of Denzel Curry.
Yeah, I haven't even gone to Denzel Curry. That's how far behind I am. Like, I should have listened to it. Like I've had chances to, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna listen to stuff I already have. Like I feel like if I just spend all my time on new music, when do I enjoy the music I'm listening to? I have already.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been kind of on a break, I guess you could say, but probably when finals come, I'll binge a lot. Like,
Yeah, I feel that. This Denzel Curry song popped up on my YouTube. His new song with T Pain, Troubles. It's a good song. I haven't heard The Weeknd's Dawn FM except for Sacrifice and Take My Breath.
oh wow, I remember listening to that winter break. The last album in full I listened to was Tana Talk 4 by Benny the Butcher. And before that, God Don't Make Mistakes by Conway the Machine. Those are really good albums. I do recommend checking them out. They're probably going to be in my top 10 hip hop albums of the year just because it's well produced. And I mean, like, I just like Griselda. Like, I know it's very niche. It's like this kind of connoisseur taste in a way just because it's like this old school but revamped in a way. And I know a lot of people in the industry, like the old heads, are really vibing to it. And I'm mentally an old head. So
I think actually during winter break I was listening to Wale's Fluctuate. No, not Fluctuate. Fallen 2. Fluctuate is one of the songs.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was actually a Wale fan back in middle school. He doesn't have a lot of hits, but when he does, it is like inspirational. Like not Ambition, but The Gifted. It has a lot of soulful songs I like. But
yeah, there's a couple stuff where I listen to where it's like Wale's on it, but I'm not really listening to a Wale album. Like I just never really got into him that well. Like I think the one song I have of his on my phone is what is it? Lotus Flower Bomb. That's the one. I just kept thinking of like the fantasy song. That's I just know it as. Like there's some songs where I don't even remember for the actual title, or I just know the blah 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 song or something like that.
I feel that there's too many love songs.
Yeah.
Moving on. We're gonna talk about the Grammys. That came out the first Sunday of this month.
Yeah. I was thinking like, all right, this is a week after the slap heard around the world.
Yeah,
Surely nothing.
I wish they stopped talking about it.
Yeah. But I'm like, I don't think anything's really gonna happen at these Grammys. I heard Nas performed, and I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to find clips of it. But
yeah, I actually saw him perform. I can't find clips either.
I don't know why. They should have those out. But with the Nas performance, like, it's like he really should have been given, like, based on what I heard, he performed this, like, classics of his. I'm like, he should have been doing that years ago. Like, this is like, oh, we're sorry for skipping out on you. Here's your Grammy, and next year you could come perform. But I heard it was good. But yeah, just that day, because it was the week of my concert, I was really tired that day because I just spent 4 hours in rehearsal, so I just took a nap, and it was coincidentally from 8 to 11 when the Grammys appear. But the thing with the Grammys is it's just performances, and then they give out like 10 awards. And it's like before 8 o'clock, they already have all this announced. I'm like, what's the point of this? Seriously.
Yeah, I don't know why the Golden Awards always be the longest. It's actually ended like 9, 10, 11, 3.5 hours. But I came in 30 minutes and I had to watch my laptop because I didn't have cable.
Mm-hmm.
So I missed Olivia Rodrigo, who won Best New Artist, and Silk Sonic. I think they won Song or Record of the Year.
Probably both.
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised.
You missed the part when Trevor Noah was talking to Anderson .Paak and he was dissing Bruno Mars because of the joke, we don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for Baby Keem. He won, Family Ties won Best Rap Song. I don't remember all the albums, except like Brother Osborne, and if I remember all the awards, it's going to take forever, but it was a good award show.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. College roast session. What did you hate most about college?
I feel like I got robbed of 2.5 semesters, like just because of the pandemic. and it's like I couldn't get really drop out. Otherwise, I lose scholarships, and I'm like, yeah, this don't feel right. And I feel like there's always stuff with college, like I feel like people say they love the school, but then they have all these complaints. It's weird, and I think one thing I have a big problem with was the housing system. Like the housing system, they have different departments that do not communicate with each other well at all, and yeah, I feel like every year I was just getting screwed over by it. Even now, like we have ants in our apartment. We get an
Me too.
exterminator. It's like there's more ants. They come back. They're angry that we call them back. It's like that's what you told us to do.
I have gotten too many. I'm at one of the townhouses. It's like a traditional apartment. I had to fill out like 4 or 5. What's the word? House notes? No.
Work orders.
Work orders. 4 or 5 work orders just to fix stuff, and it's mostly lighting. I feel like it's too easy to fall into food wise. Like one of the buildings is like an all you can eat buffet. Some of the foods at a student center is not that good. Like Chef Jet, they're not good.
Oh, I don't eat there anymore.
Yeah.
I can't stand the food.
Yeah,
I
they have no season.
I stopped or getting meal plan. I just cook, or if I need to, go to Einstein or Zaxby's.
Yeah, smoked. Their food be too much. Get a
Oh,
stomach ache.
there are too many times where I've had a bad meal from there. I just stopped altogether. Um, are we just gonna be bashing Rowan food? Is this what the
could.
segment's turned into? It's like, hey, how's your album? To yeah, this food's garbage. It's like no shit, Sherlock.
College is way harder than high school. Like you can't even prepare for it.
Yeah, it's weird because in high school they're like, you can't call your teachers by the first name, and you can't be cursing and whatnot, and that's literally what happens in college. You call them, by the first name, and then the professors will drop the F bomb every now and then, or go on their political rants or whatever. It's like, yeah, totally like what you said, high school teacher.
Yeah. After college, it's gonna be crazy thinking about after college because I gotta do driver's license, find an apartment, loans.
I mean, I put it in an entire song, What Lies Ahead. you know?
True.
Um, yeah, for me, I don't really see myself needing to move out if, like, where I'm working is 20 minutes away. But obviously, everyone operates different. I feel like some people, when they say, like, their plans, they kind of subconsciously say, like, you gotta do that too, otherwise it doesn't work. I'm like, everyone's boat floats different. So it's like, you do you, I do me. This is what I'm gonna do. But I think, like, I really want to be a full-time artist, but it's like, I don't think I'm there yet. And I'm like, how am I gonna get there? And like, do I get swamped in work? Will I ever get time to work on music? That kind of thing. I don't
feel
think I
that.
want to be signed to a major label necessarily, just because they will screw you over. Trust me, that's how this industry works.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, how do I get a label's attention? Like an indie label, for example. Like, I don't know, Strange Music. Like, how do I get their attention?
Right,
Get,
right.
get them signed. Like, I would love to be signed to Strange because I think that'd be a good stepping stone. And, like, they tour a lot. I know that. So it's like, yeah, I'd really be getting myself out there. Besides, the Strange Music, 3 of their artists were the ones that did the song Face Off that featured Dwayne Johnson, but everyone's like, it's about drive, it's about power. I'm like, yeah, and I came because the other guys.
Well, I did not knew that. I might have to listen to it.
Like, the Squid Game meme where the guy's like, oh, like, it's like, here's a nearly impossible challenge. I feel like I could see that where it's like, name the other 3 people on Face Off, and then me, I'm just like, yeah! Because I know that. That's like, welcome to my world.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm just going to wing it. I have no complete plans. I'm hoping after my part-time job. I don't know if I'm legally allowed to announce it, but I'm going to be having a full-time, no, part-time job this summer, so I'll be making money. But
Maybe.
I want to still be an entertainer in music or acting, but I'm gonna just go with the flow, see what happens, try to pay these bills. But
Yeah. It's not
I'll,
easy, especially with. I wouldn't even say post COVID because we're still in a pandemic technically, but it's like everything's so different. We and it's like we didn't see it coming. We had plans beforehand to prepare for a pandemic, but a certain someone in charge decided, nah, we don't need that. I'm not gonna make this political, but it's like everything could have gone a lot smoother if we had the right heads in charge. That's all I'm gonna say.
mm-hmm. All right, so that's about the end of the episode. Like 40, 50 minutes. So this is like the shortest episode since last year. I started this. Any last things you want to say to people, G-therz?
Um, check out the Jazz Trap page on all streaming platforms. That includes Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can check out my first music video for the song "Swing My Way." That's available on YouTube. That we went all Great Gatsby-esque in that. You can check out my merch. I have merch available on Redbubble. So if you want the link to that, you could go to my website as well. www.g-therz.com. That's g-therz.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Xavion, take it away.
Thank you for stopping by. All right, so I'll see y'all next time, probably after graduation. Stay safe. This is Double XC signing off.